All right, today we're tackling a massive challenge for pretty much every CPA firm out there. How in the world do you scale up your business without completely burning out your team? We're going to break down a really powerful solution that completely reframes outsourcing, not as some last resort, but as a core strategy for real sustainable growth. So let's dive right in.
So let's just get right to it. With the one question that's probably on every firm leader's mind, can you actually grow your firm without your team working endless nights and weekends? It honestly feels like an impossible choice sometimes, right? A trade-off between growth on one side and sanity on the other. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way?
Okay, so before we jump into the solution, we've got to understand the problem. We need to figure out why the old model is just breaking. The pressures on CPA firms today are fundamentally different than they were even a decade ago, and frankly, the traditional approach just wasn't built for this.
And this slide, wow, it really lays it all out. Think about the traditional model. Workloads were predictable, you had your big seasonal deadlines, and that was that. But today's reality, it's a whole different ballgame. We've got continuous deadlines, tax laws that get more complex every year. It's a constant battle to keep your best staff, and on top of all that, clients now expect high-level advisory services. Sticking to the old way is just a recipe for disaster.
So with that mess, what's the fix? How do we get out of this cycle? Well, it's all about rethinking what the word outsourcing even means. You have to forget the old idea of just offloading tasks when you're overwhelmed. This is about strategically designing a smarter, more resilient workflow for your entire firm from the ground up.
And here's the absolute key to the whole thing: strategic outsourcing. The key word there is integration. This is where you design a workflow where a specialized external team handles all the standardized, repeatable work. You know, the prep, the data entry, all that stuff. And what does that do? It frees up your brilliant in-house experts to focus on the really high-value work, client advisory, and final review.
This really breaks down how that workflow looks in practice. Step 1, the outsourced team takes care of the heavy lifting on those standard tasks. That then pushes your core staff up the value chain in Step 2, where they can focus on review, client interaction, and advisory. And, most importantly, look at Step 3. The partners retain full oversight and quality control. This is about delegating tasks, not delegating responsibility.
So the next logical question is, okay, great, but where do you find a team like this? Well, the answer might surprise you. For years now, India has become the established global hub for these kinds of accounting services, and for reasons that go way beyond just cost.
And this is so important. The India advantage isn't just about the bottom line. Not at all. We're talking about a massive talent pool of professionals who are already familiar with US GAAP and IRS rules. These folks have experience working inside US CPA firm workflows. They have robust quality control systems, and this is a big one. The time zone difference means your work can literally get done over.
All right, let's talk about the ultimate stress test for any CPA firm: tax season, right? This is where strategic outsourcing goes from being a good idea to being an absolute game changer. It can turn your single biggest bottleneck into one of your greatest assets. I mean, we've all seen it, right? We've all lived it. That flood of documents, the endless overtime, the stressed out staff, and that constant nagging fear of making a mistake. It is the annual bottleneck that just kills productivity and morale. But imagine, what if that chaos just wasn't? What if, with an integrated partner, it became a well-managed, predictable workflow? That sudden surge in volume gets absorbed by a scalable team that's built for exactly that, letting your core team keep a steady, sustainable pace.
And the outcomes, they really speak for themselves. You can see it right here. Your capacity to take on work skyrockets without having to hire new people. Overtime hours plummet, which everyone loves, and your senior staff are finally available to focus on the high-value work they were hired to do in the first place.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Let's address the two elephants in the room, the big questions that always come up. What about my client's sensitive data? And what does this mean for my team's jobs? Any good strategy has to have rock-solid answers for both.
First up, data security. And let's be crystal clear, this is absolutely non-negotiable. Any reputable partner operates with what is basically fortress-like security. We're talking secure IT systems with controlled access, fully encrypted data transfers, strict confidentiality agreements, and ongoing monitoring to protect your client's information at every single step.
Okay, now for the second big concern, your people. And this is a really important mental shift we have to make. This strategy isn't about replacing your team, it's about protecting them from the very burnout that drives your best people away. When you lift that crushing weight of busy work off your team's shoulders, the impact is immediate and it's huge. Burnout drops. Work-life balance actually becomes a thing. Morale goes way up. And in today's market, what does that all add up to? Much, much better retention of your top talent.
So, when you put all these pieces together, what do you get? This is about so much more than just surviving the next tax season. This is about building a firm with a foundation for real, sustainable, long-term growth.
You know, there's this quote that just absolutely nails it. The most successful firms aren't the ones doing everything themselves. They're the ones building systems that support growth, people, and clients alike. Success today isn't about doing it all. It's about being the architect of a smart system.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought, one big question for you to take away. Being busy doesn't have to mean being unsustainable. A well-built system can handle the load. So the real question isn't if your firm is going to be busy, it's what is your system for growth?